Hi, everyone.
Hey, everybody.
How are you guys doing today?
And welcome to another episode
of Sunday
Bites
and
Tidbits.
you saw my sophistication
I like
today.
that. I like
I was
that.
being very sophisticated.
Anyway,
today.
I'm Chef Babette.
I'm Terrah Smith. Welcome. We see people are logging in now. We love our fabulous followers and fans and
friends and wonderful people.
Yes. We're so excited today. Oh, wait, we've got to tell you guys something before we start. On November the 15th, yes, it's a Sunday. I think we're going to take a little hiatus because we need a little break. But November the 15th, we're going to do our live Thanksgiving. So that means that we'll be in the kitchen and Babette's going to show you some things that you can make. And I'm going to help her some of my non-meat recipes. And we're going to give you the ingredients beforehand so that you can go and purchase the ingredients and then cook along with us if you like.
So we'll make stuff like what? Dressing, just Thanksgiving stuff.
Yeah, so you can, if you want to make an alternative, want to have an alternative beside your typical, you can, say, okay, instead of doing my greens with this, I'm going to do my greens the way we did on Sunday Bites and Tidbits. Yeah. So that's going to be fun. And then we're going to take a hiatus because we're planning some new and exciting things. See, my accent just came back, it just comes back. And I don't even I'm not even trying. It's just because I'm part British. I'm British from the Bronx. And British from the Bronx. That sounds like a song like Jenny on the Block. British from the Bronx. Anyway, so get ready because we'll be posting that probably starting the end of the month. Yeah, the beginning. We'll keep running it so that people can have enough time to save up on their duck. Anyway, thank you so much. Who we got on today, Babette?
Oh, we have this amazing doctor, Terrah Mason. He is a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful person. Very, very intellectual. Got a lot of information. I hope you guys have your questions together because this brother is on point.
That's right.
That's why we're bringing him to you.
That's why we're bringing him to you. And we're going to let him talk a lot about what he's done, who he is. And he's a vegan.
Yes.
He's a vegan. And this is the coolest part about this show, too, is that for those of you, because I know a lot of our audience members are not vegans, you tune in because I guess we give you good information. And we're not sick. So part of it is showing that, that you can be healthy as you get older and you don't need no medication. And you don't need a whole lot of stuff.
Well, what we do basically is our goal is to, hey, Tom.
Are we on the right side, Tom? Because we're on a different computer. Are we on the right side today? Let us know.
Anyway, our goal is to introduce you to a simpler, easier
alternative to keep you healthy as you're aging.
Right. And it's what we need.
Babette is in the Babette's on the correct
thank
spot.
you.
Well, thank you very much. So anyway, without further ado,
we need to go ahead. Ado. It's a do.
It's a do.
You didn't do.
You know what? Wait a minute. Before we go, he just introduced us to a song from the 60s.
Oh, honey, what's this song called? The Roach.
And
they really smashing roaches.
It's a whole dance. So when we learn it, we come back and Babette will show it to you because I'm not going to do it.
No, you're going to teach me how to do it because you're going to figure it out.
I'm going to figure it out.
Or maybe Doc will show us how to do it. Anyway.
Without further ado, Dr. Terrah
Mason.
Mason. Don't get it mixed up with Perry Mason.
It's Terry.
Terry with a T.
With a T.
With a T. Hey, Doc.
Hey, Doc.
Hey, what's going on, ladies?
How are you?
Look, I'm like a drum with a hole in it. Can't beat it.
Uh-oh. My bad.
He got all the sayings.
He don't even.
He's got all the sayings. So why don't you start since you can?
Well, Doc, thank you so much for coming on the show. I'm so excited to have you here today. And you're so full of so much information. Basically, we're going to turn him loose, aren't we?
Well, let's just talk about your vegan. How long have you been a vegan, Doc?
Oh, it's been a while. It started back probably during the time we were filming Forks Over Knives. In fact, that's when it was because they were looking for a public official who would talk about vegan eating. And it started with me over at Full Vegetarian in Chicago, here in Chicago, the Israelite place. But let me tell you that the way it got to me, I was a steak a day eating guy. I love my
steak a day.
Steak a day. I would go to the butcher shop and they would cut my steaks and wrap them individually so I could freeze them in my freezer till I got ready to eat them.
Wow.
And I ate a porterhouse every single day. And then one day while I was on the treadmill, I ended up with chest pain. And I'm like, what the hell is this? And so I did something real stupid. I drove myself to the hospital, and yeah, I did. But the hospital was only 2 blocks away, so it wasn't that bad.
Doc, hold on, Doc.
They're saying your sound
is funky and that it's echoing.
I don't know.
Do you want him to go out and come back in?
I'm not sure. Are you on the speaker on your computer?
Yep, I'm nothing's changed since we started.
Yeah, well, on our end, you're not. So I don't know what they're hearing on their end.
Okay, I'm not hearing echoes from you guys either.
Yeah, and I'm not hearing anything, guys. I don't know what to do because I don't know what's happening.
Oh, well, let's just let him keep talking. So you drove yourself to the hospital.
Yeah, and I called my buddy who was a cardiologist.
Hold on. Do you have an earpiece?
Doc, you got an earpiece?
You got an earplug you can plug in?
This is for the phone. This is just for the phone.
No. Do you have like a headphone that you can plug into? No?
Oh, yeah, I got headphones. Hold on.
Let's try that.
He sounds
well,
better.
Kelly says it's fine.
He's sounding better right here.
You want me to try my headphones? I got a pair of headphones.
He said it might be your Bluetooth.
I turned it off.
Oh, yeah. Well, let's try. How is it now, guys? He turned it off.
Does it sound better now?
It does sound better.
Well, it doesn't. It sounds. I'm hearing what? I'm hearing. And we don't know what that face is, Kim. It just says I'm hearing. Well, the good you can hear, Kim. We're so happy for you. Well, I'm just joking. She knows I'm joking. It's clear now. Something
we're good.
Right.
Okay, so let me say,
drove yourself to the hospital.
Yeah, drove yourself to the hospital. Don't do that. That's not anything you should do. If you're having chest pain, don't drive. Get somebody else to drive you, okay? Because if you do pass out, you're gonna kill somebody and yourself. So what happened was I got to the hospital and my cardiologist said, "Hey man, you already bought yourself a cardiac cath because you had chest pain with exertion. You got to have a cardiac cath now." So I'm like, okay. Hey man, you look. I'm a urologist, so you do what you do. So he do it. Am I okay?
Yeah, keep going. I'm just playing with my sound.
All right. So I had a cardiac cath, and he put the little catheter up through my leg, all the way up into my heart. And I'm talking to him while he's doing this. And I'm looking at the screen too. And he says, "Oh yeah, you got this blockage right here. And I think we're going to have to put a stent in." And I said, "Look, man, I don't really want a stent. Okay. This is what I'll do. I've been eating a steak a day. This is what I'll do. I change my diet. I would go see Dean. At that time, I talked to Dean Ornish in the past. And I'll say I'll go out to Sausalito, California. I'll stay out there. My brother lives not that far away. And I will do that program." He said, "Look, man, you on my table. I've identified a lesion. You are not going to get up off this table. You're going to have a stent. I'm not going to be responsible for you later on because I knew I should have done it." So he put the stent in. And then after that, he said, "Well, after the stent was in, I did all this and nothing." And then he said, "You're going to need to take a statin for the rest of your life." I said, "I'm not going to do that."
What?
Yes, I'm not going to do that. So I'm not taking the statin. Well, all the statin drugs can create really horrible problems for your muscles and other things. So I told him I wasn't going to take the statin, but here's what I would do. I would come to your office every month for a cholesterol test. And I will not eat anything. I'm not going to put anything in my mouth from this day forward that contains cholesterol. Meat, eggs, dairy, fish, poultry, nothing. So he said, okay. He said, all right. And that's what I did. And that's how we've been doing this ever since. This was like in the 80s.
Wow.
Now, were you a doctor? Were you a physician?
Absolutely. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Wow.
I'm a practicing urologist. I practiced as a board certified urologist in the city of Chicago for 26 years. So
For how many?
How many?
26.
Wow. I'm going to get some headphones for us. Keep talking.
Wow.
So,
that's incredible.
Yeah. So, and what I learned during that journey, I met Mr. Fulkerson, And Fulkerson was the guy who came in, who was the voice on the movie Forks Over Knives. And
Okay.
I was also commissioner. I had retired from the practice, and I was working as commissioner of health for the commissioner of public health for the city of Chicago. And they wanted to profile, because they had looked all over the country for a public official who would endorse at that time plant-based eating. And they ran up on me, and that's how I ended up with being in Forks Over Knives, because I was like, this makes sense. And the other thing is, my part of my practice was male erectile dysfunction. I did prostate surgery and everything else, but one of the things that we did was erectile dysfunction. And I had a huge ED practice, probably one of the largest ones in the city of Chicago. I probably prescribed more Viagra, Cialis, and all those other drugs. We had an injection program for which—
An injection program.
Yeah, an injection program. We taught the men how to use a needle to inject the drugs into their penis for which the oral drugs did not work. And so my nurse, she got very adept at it, and she taught these. We had over 200 men on an injection program, and we titrated the dose of the medication so that they could still have an erection for about 2 hours. We didn't want to go much longer than that, but we did have the erection for about 2 hours. And sometimes the dose would not be right, and they would have the erections for a lot longer.
What? Wait a minute, an erection hold for a whole 2 hours straight?
Yes. Yes.
Yikes.
Actually, some of them, well, and I also had a very large penile implant practice. So the penile implants, which I think they still do some today, but the penile implants are for the people for whom the medications did not work, either the oral drugs nor the injections did not work. And so we then did an operation where we actually replaced all the hydraulics inside of the penis and put a device that's another show. I could show you all that. I got
I'm curious because
movies about all of this stuff. I could show it to you, show you the operation, show whatever you want. But what it did was it put a pump deflate valve down next to the guy was right-handed in his right testicle. But this is all on the inside. You can't see any of this from the outside. We put 2 cylinders inside the shaft of the penis, and then we put a reservoir to hold the fluid, which was just salt water. So it was the fluid that got transferred from the reservoir into the chambers in the penis, into the plastic chambers in the penis, and the guy could pump up his penis, and it would stay up as long as he wanted it.
How? Was it like a pump?
With that salt water?
With saline. It was just saline. But it was inside the plastic tubes. So it was like filling a tire with air.
So people were doing that. They were doing that because they had clogged their arteries and their penis was not functioning properly.
Right.
Did you have? Go ahead.
So what the other part of the story is that as Dr. Esselstyn in his book How to Prevent and Reverse Heart Disease came out, the information about what was causing this problem, that is damage to the endothelial cells, the cells that line all of our blood vessels in our entire body everywhere. The foods that we're eating were destroying the endothelial cells. The endothelial cells were the cells that made the gas nitric oxide. And that's what caused the smooth tissue to relax and the blood to flow into the penis. And the reason why the penis was so sensitive to this is because, and for the men out there and for the ladies out there, if you want to keep it up in the bedroom, you got to change what you serve in the kitchen. The food that you're serving, the food that they're eating, these inflammatory foods, these are the milk, eggs, dairy, cheese, all of those sorts of things are killing off the endothelial cells. You got to remember, the drugs like Cialis, and I shouldn't probably use brand names, but the drugs, and that I do that because people would know what I'm talking about, and Viagra and those kinds of drugs, and there's a bunch of other ones out there. Those drugs, all they did was a chemical that part of normal metabolism is that the drug, the agent that would go into the bloodstream that would open up the blood vessels so that more blood could be trapped inside the penis, because the penis got hard because of blood that was trapped in the penis under pressure, which is why the guys, especially those young enough to remember, that your penis, when you had a good hard erection, you would see it pulse coincident with your heartbeat, because that's the pressure that was maintaining it. So the foods that we were eating were destroying our endothelial cells. I actually had a little video from Dr. Esselstyn's movie about how it was doing it. And we need to understand that that process wasn't just happening in the penis. That process was happening in every artery in your entire body.
See? That's right. Wow.
So that's why, and in one of the presentations, I show a chart that was done by the AMA, where they show men who had erectile dysfunction were far more likely to go ahead to have a stroke, were likely to have a heart attack, were likely to have peripheral vascular disease. Why? Because it's all the same disease.
Wow.
It's not different. So when you got blockages in the artery going up to the brain, we call that a stroke. But those same blockages in those arteries are in every artery in your body. So you end up with what we call it, when blocks up in the legs, we call it peripheral vascular disease. Blocks up in the heart, we call it coronary artery disease, but it's all the same. It's not different. It's one disease. And what happens is, and I tell you this, I eventually left the practice of urology. And I did it because I wasn't really curing anybody of anything. I could take out prostates, I could bladders and kidneys, and I did stones and did all this stuff, but I wasn't doing anything to really try and deal with the actual cause of the problem. And what physicians are trained to do is to manage complications. None of the medicine, for example, you can take blood pressure medicine from now to the day you die, and you're going to have high pressure. Why? Because it does not cure, it does not treat the underlying cause of why you have high blood pressure. So that you will take these medications that'll make your numbers better. It's just like the insulin. And I'm not saying don't take blood pressure medicine. I'm not saying that at all. And I'm not saying don't take your insulin, but your body's making insulin. So you think about it. You're taking insulin, your body's making insulin, but the insulin your body's making is not working. So you then give it more insulin rather than deal with the underlying cause. And the underlying cause for most all of these, one of the things that's similar, and I'll stop after this, is inflammation. It is all about inflammation. Now, what is inflammation? And so if you scrape your knee, and it doesn't cut it, but just scrapes off some of the skin, we've all done that. And if you notice, when you put your hand on it, it's warm. Why? Because all of these elements come out of the body to try and heal that. So the first thing are a bunch of cells that make sure that you're fighting against the infection and what have you. Then you have platelets that come to sort of create a clot so that the skin can begin to replace itself under the protection of this clot, of this scab, as we call it. And as the skin heals, then the scab will come off. Now, the problem is that's going on in your arteries inside your body, all of them, all the time, when you're eating food that cause inflammation. So it's like this. Let's say you skinned your knee, all right, and your knee was starting to heal, and then you go and skin it again in like 2 hours, and then you go back and skin it again. Well, that every time you eat this food, it's like skinning your knee another time, because that food is actually helping to injure that inside lining of your blood vessel. And that's what's causing your problem.
That is deep.
And there's no medicine you can take. There's no medicine that you can take that's going to fix that. There's only one thing that actually reverses that. And that is what's in these things called phytonutrients. And these we have all antioxidants, call them whatever you want to, but it's the things that give plants their colors. They're flavonoids. They're all kinds of things. We have names for all of them. But the things that are in plants, see, God created, and those of you that don't believe in God, that's your right. But what happened is, you think about it. The sun is 93 million miles away from the earth. The sunlight travels at 186,000 miles per second. And that sunlight, the trees, the leaves on the trees, on the plants and in the vegetables are genetically arranged to be able to absorb the maximum amount of sunlight. They take that sunlight and the gas that we breathe out, carbon dioxide, and the water that comes out of the ground, and they create sugars. And those sugars are what nourish the plant and create the opportunity for that plant to grow more leaves, more stems. And then what every plant does is it has a way to reproduce itself. Usually, like for example, if you're growing a tomato plant, you'll see a little flower come out. And then right where that flower was, where the new tomato is going to be. Now, that tomato is going to be full of the vitamins, the minerals, all the things that we need, that it's extracting from the earth, as long as the earth has not been depleted of those natural things that it needs. So then when we eat these foods, and the beautiful things about all of the foods that we can eat, whether they're fruits or vegetables, you really don't have to cook them. It is designed to be eaten just the way it is. In fact, when you put a bunch of raw greens or fruits and nuts in a bowl, we call that a salad. And so that's one of the ways these foods can be eaten. Now, we have been brainwashed to believe that we need to eat 3 meals a day. We need to have these particular food groups. Why? I'll stop after that. Why do we have to have these particular food groups? Because if you look at the origin of how we came to this, what you'll see in every food grouping chart is you're going to see the dairy manufacturers, the beef manufacturers or producers, the chicken producers. All of those are represented there. And we go and they say that you need that, but you really don't. You really don't. I mean, what you need is the same. I mean, why? And I love this metaphor that they use. We talk about eating meat, but why are we eating the middleman or the middle woman? Because those animals ate the plants, and they developed all their muscle from the plant.
Plants.
So when you're eating the meat, you're eating the byproduct of the metabolism that created the muscle for the plant. So why not just eat the plant, and you won't have to be bothered with the middleman?
And Doc, don't they tell you after they bring you that pyramid and they tell you to eat all that stuff, and then you get to be about 30 or 40 years old, then they say, you're gonna have to stop eating this and this and this, but you told me to eat this.
Especially after, I know people, not everyone, just a few people I know who've suffered from breast cancer. The first thing they pull out is the meat and the dairy. So it's like, well, if you're pulling it out now, perhaps if I didn't eat it before, I wouldn't be in this situation.
Right. Absolutely true. And these are the things that people are now beginning to find out. You got to remember, we live in a country where government actually hid the fact that cigarette smoking was causing cancer.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, they did.
They hid it. They did not let that information out. And by the time they did, look at all the people who had succumbed and had the complications of smoking cigarettes. There was nothing that was good about inhaling these byproducts of the burning of tobacco. That makes no sense at all. So the same thing is true about our food. This is not about being vegan, vegetarian. It's not about that at all. It's all about when you buy your car. And if you have a new car, it comes with a manual. And with the manual, one of the first things in it when it talks about the fuel, it'll tell you whether you need to put premium or regular or whatever. And it tells you how often to change the oil and all that sort of stuff. If you want the car to perform the way the manufacturer designed it, you must put the right fuel at the right octane level in the car. Okay. Now we have a manual. People may disagree, and I'm not, and that's fine. But I believe that in Genesis 1:26, we were given that's the manual, and it says what we're supposed to eat. Now you can debate it all you want, but our deviation from that is what's created most of the diseases that we had. And many of us who grew up on farms where we had these things fresh and available, and when we didn't have it when it was out of season, we learned how to prepare it in such a way that we could eat it when it wasn't in season. We call that canning.
Right.
So, but it was not using preservatives. It was not using anything, but it had to be done properly. Otherwise, it create a problem. So that's why when you come to stuff I eat, right?
Yeah.
You will get an opportunity to eat food. First of all, that's prepared with love.
Right.
No evil spirits around this food. But the other part of it is you will get food that is designed to digest properly in your body.
Well,
that's
this
what
is
you're going to get.
We have go ahead. We have a bunch of questions there.
All right, well, go ahead. I'll take your questions.
Okay. Then we'll come back. This is a long one. Where's the logic of some men getting injections, hoping in a doctor, but his ego or whatever is not giving him the strength of going green? If a woman cooks green and he won't get up and medically,
it's temporary.
It's temporary. Where does he get the common sense of what can a woman do psychological? I'm sorry. This is why they have glasses.
Psychological system for the man. If a man is a leader in the house, where does he begin to do a complete change like that? Well, I think the question is asking, why would we be sticking our needle into our penis to get an erection? And with the woman is cooking the right things. Now, the one thing you got to do is it's just more than the vegetables. It's actually how you prepare them. And there's things that we have to do. What we've done historically is we've added a lot of animal fat, which is bad, to our way that we prepare a lot of our foods. And we cook them to death, literally. So what we need to do is we need to learn from people like Chef Babette and what she's doing in order to be able to give you the food with the tastes and the textures that you're accustomed to while you are on this journey to better health. And it's not anything special. It's really not anything special. Now, obviously, if you have certain medical conditions and if you're taking certain medications like Coumadin, you have to be careful because Coumadin works against vitamin K, and vitamin K is in green leafy vegetables. So you need to be careful about what you're doing. And we need to make sure that you do this in concert with your physician so that if there are a condition that you've had that created the clots is exacerbating, you may need to continue those medications. I'm not telling anybody to stop their medications, but I can tell you, in God we trust, all others must have data. So if you begin to change the way you eat and you begin to eat far more vegetables than you did, but now not loading them up with grease and salt, but if you're eating far more vegetables, then you'll find that some of these conditions that you have will improve themselves, but that will take time. You can't eat bad all for 50 years, have 2 vegan meals and think everything is going to be fine. That is not the way it's going to work. Okay.
Doc, we have a really good question by our friend Tom.
Okay. What men need to do in order to maintain a healthy prostate?
First of all, we got to stop thinking that you can do a particular thing for a particular part of the body. What you do for one affects all. The prostate is not sitting outside the body someplace. It's inside the body. So according to Dean Ornish and others who've looked at this, probably eggs and dairy are the worst things that you can put in your mouth among the worst things you can put in your mouth for the prostate. Let me tell you why. The milk, okay, is the perfect growth food for a cow. It is specifically designed to help take a calf, which is about 65 pounds or so at birth, and put it on the path to becoming a 400-pound cow. Why? It contains things like insulin growth factor 1. What is insulin growth factor 1? It's one of the chemicals that is in the milk that makes cells grow. And if you've got a 65-pound calf and you want it to become a 400-pound cow, then you've got to make the bones grow, the muscles grow, everything has to grow in order for this calf to become a cow. Well, every female of the mammalian species produces the right fluid, milk, for its young. So what am I saying?
Yes.
What I'm saying is that women produce the right milk for your young. Like dogs produce it for dogs, cats produce it for cats, elephants produce it for elephants. Everyone does it, including us. You don't see the elephant going to suckle from the cow because that's not what they do.
Right.
Okay. That's not what they do. You don't see dogs suckling from cats. You don't, because every
dog suckling from people.
Or suckling from people. People give animals milk from the cow, but the cow milk is specifically designed to do exactly what it's supposed to do. And that's why in places where cells are growing like they are in our body, we really should not be exposing ourselves unnecessarily to these fluids, these milks that contain all this insulin growth factor. And it also has the wrong fat concentration for us. We were not designed, and especially many Black people, we don't even have the enzyme to break down the sugar in the cow's milk in the first place. The milk in the sugar in the milk of cows is called lactose. Many of us are lactose, including me. I am horribly lactose intolerant.
You have gas when you drink it?
I'm sorry?
Does it bloat you and give you like gas and all that?
No, if I drink milk, and I haven't for probably over 40 years or more now, I get terrible diarrhea.
Diarrhea, okay.
Horrific diarrhea.
Used to get really bad gas and bloating.
You can get gas and bloating.
I never liked it.
I didn't like it.
My body rejected it very young, and they said, "You have to drink your milk." It's like I don't want to drink this milk. So I just never drank milk. And everyone would say, "Oh, you wait till you get all of your bones are gonna fall apart and everything's gonna fall." And I'm like, "Well, I'm still here."
No, I never liked it.
I never liked it.
Well, you got to look at this. Milk actually does create a problem for your bones because you have to be careful about these things. Now, you've got to understand, and let me just back up a moment. When I was in medical school in 1974, throughout my entire medical school 4 years career, we had 40 minutes of nutrition.
Whoa.
Out of 4 years of teaching, 40 minutes of nutrition. And it really wasn't real nutrition. What it was to teach us about deficiency states, like iron deficiency, anemia, beriberi, scurvy, those sort of things that you saw in extreme, but never knowing that most of us were malnourished anyway. And we were not getting, because you got to understand, if we were to eat the foods that we should eat, and those are foods, and this is not I'm not trying to do a commercial about plant-based eating. I'm telling you biologically what we are trying to do. And actually, there's a good guy, Milton Mills, who does you should look up his YouTube. He does a great job on a number of videos to talk about how we are not even designed to eat meat. And so Dr. Mills does a great job, and you should watch his about it. And he always talks about people telling you you're not getting all the essential amino acids, and if you're eating vegan, you won't get it. That's not true either. If that's the case, how do elephants and all of these huge mammals grow to the level they grow if there was some deficiency in what they were eating? And there's no deficiency in what we're eating, because the amino acids that we need, the essential amino acids that we need, our body is always breaking down and rebuilding. And so it can recirculate the amino acids that we need. And you've got to understand, there is a tremendous value proposition assigned to sickness. I have in one of my presentations, I have a picture of a bunch of guys with a bunch of mops mopping the floor. And there's a sink that's overflowing. And so what they're doing, they're all mopping the floor. But nobody is going to turn the water off. Okay? So what we as physicians in one way have been taught to do is be moppers. Okay? We're mopping up, trying to mop up the problem, but mop it up, but we're not going to the source of the problem and turning the water off in the sink and allowing the sink to drain properly. So this is what was happening. And what I had to do is I had to say, I can't do this anymore. I got to the point where I said, you know what? I make good money. I do all this stuff, but I'm not doing anything to help these men. I'm not doing anything. And so I couldn't do it anymore. And so I walked away.
Regina, this question of Regina. Now, I'm under the impression that when you apply heat to veggies, you're going to kill, especially temperatures over 115 degrees Fahrenheit, you kill the life in that vegetable. You kill the live enzymes. She says you can't cook the nutrients out, but I beg to differ.
Well, I mean, we do a lot of different things, and we do a lot of things higher than the temperatures that you're talking about. But I agree that the best way to eat these things are as close to their natural way that they come out as possible. That's the best way. And if you can't do that, then I would say you do your little cook as little as possible. Now, let me just tell you, pressure cooking. People like to use their pressure cooker. Pressure cooker actually raise the temperature, because what happens is
it raises the temperature.
It raises the temperature because what you're doing is you're changing the pressure. Water boils at a certain temperature at a certain atmospheric pressure. When you increase that pressure, you decrease the temperature that it takes the water to boil. So that's why we use pressure cookers, because it changes the pressure dynamics and it cooks much, much faster. So it's another way around doing some of those things. But I think that we need to try as best we can to, we already eat fruits for the most part in their natural state. And if you're going to eat veggies, and I think I would rather see you eat a cooked veggie than a barbecue rib.
Well, I agree with that. I agree with that. But I would think that eating cooked vegetables is something that we're used to. How I get around it is I juice. So I just go ahead and extract the chlorophyll from the vegetable. I drink the juice. I try to get as many nutrients in that. And then if I want to eat some greens or some string beans that have been subjected to the heat, I don't feel so bad. I'm eating that more for pleasure than nutrition. I always look at it that way.
Well, I look at it as a journey. Okay. I look at it as a journey. When people say, well, that's too hard for me to, well, it may be right, but it's too hard to do all at one time. So you get in where you fit in. You don't let the small things get in the way. Right. So I'd rather see you eat greens, right? Okay, than not any greens at all. Yeah, right. You know what I mean? And we always, the other thing that is creating cancer for us is this whole notion of charring our meat. When you put those black lines on the meat, those things create what are called polyaromatic hydrocarbons, and those things are cancer causing.
Whoa, are you kidding me?
No, I'm not kidding you. Don't take my word for it. Look it up yourself. These,
I don't char anything, so.
But I've seen, so we eat that all the time.
that's right. And look at how much. Why do you think we have more cancer, more diabetes, more strokes? Why do you think we have this?
It's the black
That
char
black
parts
charred
that
part.
That char, that because what that
That
is, we're
black line.
caramelizing. That's where the polyaromatic hydrocarbons live. Those have been proven to be cancer causing.
Wow. Well, you know we're gonna have you back.
You know you got to come back. You
Whoa, this is gonna be a 60-hour show in a minute. Okay. Please ask Dr. Mason why primary care physicians don't immediately refer the erectile dysfunction patients to a cardiologist for a heart disease evaluation.
That's a great question. That's a great question. And some of the things a primary care doc can do him or herself. And I think that the problem is that most physicians, because we've not been trained in any kind of nutrition, we need to all be monitored. And we did a study at our church where we took about 50 people and we put them on a plant-based diet. We measured blood before, and I got this in a presentation. I can do it another time. And we measured their blood afterwards. And we could see in 40 days or 4 weeks around Lent, in 40 days, your blood chemistry will change.
really?
Absolutely. The major inflammatory marker, the trimethylamine oxide, dropped by over 40% in 4 weeks with this group.
1 month. A month.
Yeah. So I'm just saying it. When you do right comes real fast. And the thing is, we have just been so bombarded. Nowadays, we got 60-inch televisions. You can wake up in the middle of the night if your TV is still on, and you got a 60-inch hamburger staring you in the face.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So this whole thing is about marketing, and it's about making money.
Yeah.
That's what it's about. And what happens is they've engineered our tastes for something that's salty, crunchy. You think about it. Most all those things that we eat have that an oily. There's a little bit of an oily or greasy taste to it.
They put sugar in everything too to addict you.
Absolutely.
Everything. Wow. Okay, we have another question here. At what age is a decent age for a person to say, "Hey, let me get this checked"? I found many people are neglectful of their health.
Yeah, I think that if you have a good primary care doctor, what I would recommend that you should have done is an inflammatory panel. That is looking for those things, looking for an indication of inflammation in your body. Your doctor should knows what those things are. But there are things like I just talked about, TMAO, which is new, but there are other things that could be measured. And if you have those things measured in your blood from the blood test, and if those things are high, you know that you're already a setup. Whether you have chest pain or difficulty walking, you know that process is happening. By the time you get it, there's not a symptom that any disease you can have will present itself in its earliest, most reversible stage.
Wow.
Symptoms are not early. Symptoms are late. It's like waiting till your engine starts knocking before you decide you're going to put oil in it.
Right.
And that's what, unfortunately, that's what people do. You know, when they go to the doctor and the doctor says, okay, now, then they want to look at alternatives. You know, I told the story of a friend of mine who was diagnosed with cancer, and when I first saw him, we went to high school together, and I was looking for him on the internet, and I found him, and I didn't recognize him at all. Not because he'd gotten so big that his skin color had actually changed.
Sure.
I mean, everything changed, and then within like a few weeks, he got cancer. So I said, you need to look at changing your diet. Please watch What the Health, something I thought that could connect.
Sure. But there's a lot of good movies. There's a lot of good movies out there. What the Hell?
Funny,
Diet Fiction.
Yeah.
Diet Fiction is another good movie because it goes through all these different diets.
I don't know that one.
Yeah, Diet Fiction. That's another one. And if you are one of these guys who believe you cannot get strong, you cannot develop muscle.
Oh, that's a lie.
Yeah, you need to watch Game Changers. It's done by James Cameron.
Game
They
changer.
went all over the world, interviewed the strongest, fastest, most high-performing athletes, the guys that do what's called an Ultraman, which I think is 3 Ironmans back to back.
Wow.
Okay, and they're vegan. Guy that walked over 1,000 miles. I mean, you got to see this movie. You got to see.
So give us the names again.
Game
We can
Changers.
Game Changers and
Game Changers.
and something else.
No, Game Changers. The other one that came out first. I'm just trying to think.
You said Diet Fiction.
Diet Fiction is a great movie that goes and looks at every single diet that's out there and talks about what the science says about these particular diets. So that's Game Changers. And of course, don't forget the staple. We can't throw the staple under the bus. The first movie that got us all on, many of us on this path, the one that came out with Dr. Esselstyn talking about the diet that he and I went to the Cleveland Clinic and watched he and his wife do the class. Forks Over Knives is the name of that movie. So I would say that you should at least watch those 3.
Yeah.
And then you got to remember, because you said something that triggered something a moment ago. You have to, no one's going to do this for you. This is between you and yourself. And you have to you got to understand that the most valuable thing you have is your health. And when you lose it, you want to do anything you can
and to get it back. But
So-
what I was saying to say that that same friend, when he lost a lot of weight, obviously, and the doctors told him he needed to eat to go home. So he went home. He said, "Yeah, well, I came home. I had some eggs and some bacon." I said, "No. Did you watch the movie?" You know, I mean, and then obviously he passed away within like weeks.
Well, you know, the thing that we've got to do, we have to understand that what these foods are and what they do. And when we talk about eggs and bacon, I mean, Dr. Dean Ornish showed in men with prostate cancer, when they took some prostate cancer cells, put them in a petri dish, and they had these guys that were on a plant-based diet, also doing stress and yoga and meditation and that sort of thing, because it's not just
Mind, body, spirit.
When they drip their blood into the prostate cancer cells, the people that were eating that way, only about 8% of the prostate cancer cells grew. In the men that were eating the regular food with just, all the barbecue and everything else, the 80% of the cells grew. The cancer cells grew.
Wow. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. And so and for prostate cancer, and for any of these cancers, but particularly prostate cancers, we don't recommend men eating eggs or dairy. You got to remember the dairy, as I told you before, has the insulin growth factor 1 in it. And if you already have a cancer, why would you put something in your body that makes cells grow faster? That's not using good judgment, because you're going to provide an environment for more prostate cancer cells to grow. There also, just one thing I also want to say, the International Agency on the Research for Cancer did over 800 scientists looked at all the literature, and what they found is they took meat and put it in different categories, and they put processed meat in group 1. Group 1 is the group that definitely causes cancer, and all processed meat is in group 1. That's your bacon, salami, bologna, sausages, all of that stuff is in group 1. Look it up yourself, the International Agency for Research on Cancer. And they've shown that when you eat 1 hot dog or 4 strips of bacon, you increase your risk for colorectal cancer by about 18%.
Okay, I'm writing this down, Doctor.
You said International
Agency
or Research on Cancer, IR, AIRC.
Cancer. Okay,
thank you.
And I see your question about soy milk, almond milk. All of those things are vegetable milks. If you like them, you have at it. I just don't think that those are not dairy. Soy is not dairy, almond is not dairy, and coconut's not dairy. And if you just want to have them, you have them. But the thing that we need to drink more of, and Chef Babette, I'm sure you agree, is water.
It's water.
We need more water.
I mean, they still put stuff in those milks to keep them on the shelf.
It's processed.
There's always stuff in those milks. There's
Yep.
always something in those milks.
And there are people,
A lot of times I'll just take plain shredded coconut, soak it in water, blend it up, put it through a strainer, and have me some coconut milk. But at least I know what's in the dang milk.
right. So we need to understand. We really need to understand it better. I'm not one who tries to beat people over the head. I think what I like to do is give you information, and you make your own decisions.
Yes.
You make your own, but get good information.
Right.
And stop thinking that you're going to go. The first thing you need to do is stay away from folks that tell you, I got this supplement for this supplement for that, this supplement for the other. You don't need, what you need is to eat good, wholesome foods. And if you don't know, you've got two ladies sitting right here that can help you with this. You can do that. And then the question, what is the proper milk for somebody who's lactose intolerant? There is no milk, no cow milk that you can use. Those other milks that we talked about. And that's another thing. The cereal industry was invented to help sell dairy.
Yeah, because you can't, I mean, you're supposed to pour the milk on there.
But look how they treat the cereal. With the cereal that the average person eats is full of dye, refined sugar, all kind of chemicals, and you give this stuff to your children before they go to school. I mean, that's what we used to do. With the milk
and refined sugar.
And pour more sugar on it. It's just like incredible. And you know what, Doc? I posted something a couple of weeks ago that had it. I know it shook everybody up because within an hour, I had almost 10,000 views. And that's when you know you got people all messed up. And basically what I did was I found something that my family members left here in the refrigerator. I was hungry. And it was just a product that was like I could put it in the oven, pull it out, and I'd have me some, what was those things?
Some kind of something, I don't know.
Yeah, well, anyway, but I turned it over, and the bottom line is it had a huge paragraph of a bunch of words that I couldn't pronounce. So my suggestion in the post is like, should we be eating all this? And if you don't know what you're eating, should you be consuming it? And a lot of people just eat out of boxes, Doc. And so you have a list of ingredients in this box. You have a list of ingredients in this box. And should all those ingredients even be consumed together anyway? If that makes sense.
No, it makes a lot of sense. And this is what I say. When you see a flake on a cornstalk, then you know it's real. But these cornflakes and all these other things that these put together things, these extruded things, these things that are not real. I mean, we should just stay with real food like oats, barley. I mean, especially if you're not gluten intolerant. We should just stay with food, stay with real food, stay with plants. Then you don't have to worry. And people say, well, what about the plants with all the pesticides and stuff like that? That's a valid concern. But even that is still better than that processed thing. You have no idea how it was made or what it's doing. And what we've done here in Chicago, here is that what we need to do is grow our own food. You don't know what you're eating if you don't grow it yourself. So we have a co-op here that we grow our own food.
That's beautiful.
And what happens, you get a share, you buy a share, it costs $450 for.
Okay, he's disappeared. Oh, no, Doc, no,
like
come back, come back.
Please come back, Doc.
Okay,
it's not like last week.
Well, wait, hold on. He just froze. I mean, we're almost at the hour, but
he's wonderful.
I know this is great. Doc, if you can hear us, text him, tell him to pull out and come back in.
Okay.
Can you guys still hear the doc? Oh no, he said, oh no. Can you hear us, Tom? Somebody text and say if you can hear us. Hit the doc, call him, tell him to come back in. Is Terry okay? Can you hear us? Okay.
Man.
Okay, well, we're going to try to get him. Can you hear us, Tom? Okay, he'll come back. We're still here, looks like, hopefully. We're not sure what's going on. You know, this whole internet thing has been challenging sometimes.
Remember, I got cut off last week.
Right, hear us. But you weren't here. Tell him to log back in.
Doc? Doc, can you log back in?
Yeah, I'll do that right. I'm trying right now.
Okay, so he's trying to log back in. Everyone give him a moment. But isn't it so, this has like been so great. I just, wow, because I wanted him to answer
About the water.
About the water. Hear you, but not the doc. The doc was trying to log back in, so he should be back momentarily. Thank you, guys. Yeah, I wanted to hear about the water because there's so, I mean, water is, you think it's water.
Yeah,
and when you go on the street, you don't know whether you get spring water, tunnel water, electrolytes, mineral water. I mean, I just buy them, and then they put them in cute bottles to like pull you in.
I think I think water is pretty much water. However, the plastic that they store the water in, it's so many chemicals that go along with everything that we consume. It makes something like plain old water turn into poison. Do I keep him on until
No, he's coming. Yeah, he's coming. There he goes. Turn that off. Right. Okay, there we go. We got him back, guys. Let's get him in the stream. Okay, yay! We were like, no.
Okay. So Doc,
well, that's all right. You know, that's what happens when you get truth out there.
That's right. I love it.
Address the water question, Doc. People are asking about water. All water is not good, right? Like mineral and electrolyte filled waters.
Yeah, I think.
Or is water just water?
No, I think that there's some of these waters that are supplemented. No.
He's stuck again. I don't know what's going on with Docs. And he keeps.
Man, I sure wanted to hear that about the water.
I know. Maybe we're not supposed to learn about the water. It seems like every time we ask about the water, somebody from the water system is shutting us out. Is shutting us out.
Well, let's talk to our folks. First of all, it has been just amazing to have Doc on the show today. As you can see, he is just a wealth of information. So we're definitely going to try to get him back sooner than later.
Yeah.
We're so sorry that we lost him. Like you guys lost me last week. I don't know. Sometimes this electronics go nuts.
Yeah.
But go ahead, honey.
Somebody said the devil is a big liar. Well, the water devil is out right now, and obviously not letting us hear about which water we should have or which water is or is not good, because he was talking about water has supplements in it. And who thinks about that? Because you just think okay, they're really going out to get spring water, or they just putting water on a spring bed and bouncing it upside down and calling it spring water.
Right.
You know, I mean, who knows? But you buy it and they put it in beautiful bottles. Each bottle is starting to look nicer than the last bottle. We're going to wait because Doc's probably going to try to get back on again.
Somebody said, what's his whole name?
His whole name is Dr. Terry Mason. It's under scrolling in the thing. You see, our guest today is Dr. Terry Mason. I will put down his information. It might be a government. What did you say, Tom? I know this is Tom. Tom, you are crazy. What did you say? Wait a minute. What did Tom say? It might be a government conspiracy blocking. I know.
Talk too much. Huh?
I know, but hey, he knows a lot of information. But anyway, yeah, I'm not sure if he's going to get back because he's trying again. Here he comes.
He's really awesome.
No, he is so awesome. He's back. He's back.
So, Doc, finish telling us about the water. You said it's supplemented.
Yeah, I think that what you should do, first of all, is always look for the source. On the bottle, they should say where the water is sourced from. If it says it's from a municipal water supply, that's the same water you're getting out of your sink. That's the same water. And if it says it's from a spring, I mean, theoretically, there's supposed to be truth in the advertising. But other than that, there's not much you can do. I don't deal with the flavored waters or any of those things, just water, you know. And if, you know, I'm not going to name any brands on here. But at my house where I am right now, I have a pretty good, I just use municipal water and I use a filter. It cost me like $72 for this doggone filter, but that's what I do. Now, alkaline water. I have a lot of people ask about alkaline water. First of all, regular water is almost pH neutral.
Okay.
Right? Most of it is almost pH neutral. Alkaline water means the pH is above 7. And I've asked a lot of people, and I've tried to understand what the whole thing about alkaline water is. Now, between your back of your throat and your stomach is a tube called the esophagus. The esophagus conducts all the food into your stomach. It's about 10 inches long. The pH of the stomach acid is 2. Okay. So I'm not sure how long when you drink this alkaline water, does it stay alkaline? It doesn't stay alkaline when it gets into your stomach because the stomach makes it acidic because the pH of the stomach is 2. It's very, very powerful acid because that's what's used to break down the proteins and what have you in the food that you're eating. So I'm not one, if people want to drink alkaline water, that's fine. But in terms of, I wouldn't drink alkaline water and then fill up the rest of my plate with processed foods. You know, I wouldn't be drinking my hot dog, eating my hot dog with alkaline water. I mean, you're defeating the purpose. Spend your money on where you need to spend it on. Buy good food. Eat at good places like Stuff I Eat. It's not commercial. They ain't paying me to do no commercials, but I've eaten there. I've been to Inglewood, California, and I've gone there. So you want to try to do, why would you, when you buy your car, and the car tells you, you know, you want to put the right oil, the right gas, the right this, you want to check the tires and all that stuff and make it good, but we don't do that for our bodies. We put anything in our bodies.
Well, don't we? We really do. Anything. And we don't even ask questions.
And so we wonder why we're so sick. And we have all of these diseases, all this heart disease and cancer and diabetes, not because there's anything wrong with us being Black. It's because of where we live, how we live, and what we eat. And those are the things that determine how long you live. Health, we talk about the environment where people work, live, and play determines how long they stay on the planet. And you've got to take better. Yeah, you've got to take better. You've got to love yourself. You know, you got to love yourself enough to put the right things. You know, you don't go to the gas station, and if your car says put 92 in,
you put some 87 in
because you want to save money.
It's not going to work.
And then your car be pinging and knocking.
That's right, because it's
Can
not the right fuel.
I know.
Can you answer this question, Doc?
Do you recommend a water fast to start our cleansing? You know, I'm not a real big thing about cleansing. I think that if you just start eating right all the time, stop putting garbage in. You don't have to worry about.
She's trying to combat her seizures via my diet. Any recommendation?
I don't do a recommendation about particular diseases. I think no matter what your disease is, you simply can. Because the vegetables and the fruits is telling you about all of the different chemicals, the phytonutrients, the things that give fruit and vegetables their color are the very things that contain, those are where those chemicals are that will help your body in general and will fight inflammation in general throughout your whole body. So I don't say do this for seizures, do that. Just eat good all the time.
There you go.
You know, eat good, sleep,
eat life,
drink water, pray, eat life, and develop some sort of spiritual relationship, you know, that you can,
mind, body,
take
spirit.
things to. And also, and then one of the things I would say is that in the blue zones, in the book by Bueller talked about blue zones where people live, one of the things that those people have.
No. Every time he freezes, I hold my breath. Every time he freezes, I hold my breath. Just let's get this last thing out. Just the last thing before he goes away. No.
Oh man.
Well, he's gonna come back, and then we're gonna say goodbye because we're already past our time.
You guys have been such a great
and we
audience
still
today.
have a lot of people checking it out at this time. So I know everybody want to get the last thing he has to say.
But we're gonna bring him back. We're gonna try to bring him back soon.
Well, we're booked up.
I know we're booked up.
We can't.
So it won't be till next year.
It won't be till next year. But we're going to make sure, because we got a lot of new things happening for next year. We're very excited. We're going to take, like we said earlier, we're going to do a hiatus, and we need a break, just a little break, so we can revamp the show in November. But November 15th, guys, Chef Babette and I, we're going to be in the kitchen.
It'll be fun.
And prepping. So we're going to give you the ingredients and everything beforehand, so that you can go shop if you want to come in the kitchen with us and prep up some new ideas for Thanksgiving, that are meat free or dairy free. so that maybe you want to try a few replacements in your Thanksgiving dinner.
Yeah.
So we're going to do that, and you guys can join in with us live, and the same thing where we'll be chatting and cooking and having a good time. So that's on the 15th. And then after that, we're going to take a little hiatus. But what we're going to do is we're going to run all of our doctor series while we're gone.
There you go.
So you get to watch them again and take notes, and anything you want to will be on kind of reruns. We're running reruns of our show while we revamp. And Doctor's back. So let's get him said before he goes.
Okay.
Because we're already over our time, but we don't care. Okay,
All right,
so before you go, what's one of the last things? First of all, let me get your email, Doc. What's your email? Oh, would you want the email for everyone if they want to contact you?
Sure, just doc at terrymasonmd.com.
Okay.
doc@terrymasonmd.com. And there are some people who do, for people who want something for different diseases. You have people like Baxter Montgomery, who's in Houston, Texas.
We had him on.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't do that because Baxter's all set up for that sort of stuff. And be careful about people who say they can do this and do that, just drink that. First start by looking at them. But I think that you really do need to, and I'm just saying there's no secrets, there's no shortcuts. Eat good food, drink good water, think good thoughts, keep great spirits around you, and you'll do much better.
You're the best.
Not hard.
You're the best. We love you so much. This was such a great
show. Okay, so just know you coming back.
You know you got to come back next year.
Anytime.
Yes, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Make sure you reach out to Doc. Any social media, anything you want us to put down.
No, I'm going to redo Facebook. I was on, then I got hacked, and so after I got hacked and people were using and begging for money in my name, I said, "To hell with Facebook."
Oh, okay. All right.
Okay.
Well. We
thank
love
you so much.
Thank you so
You're
much.
So welcome. And listen, you keep cooking the stuff I eat. Okay.
Stuff I eat. That's right. All right. Thank you, Doc.
Baby.
Stuff I eat. And
see you later, Doc.
Thank you, guys.
Right.
Take care now.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
And we're going to say goodbye. Oh, and just remember this, fans.
Hold on. Let me pull Doc out for a second. Okay.
I want you guys to always remember this. You are such an incredible audience, and we love you guys so much. If we have any visitors that ever come on, understand that this is just a place of love and learning. We're sharing, we're growing, and we're learning ourselves. So keep your negative thoughts outside of this
She's
space.
saying that because somebody left a little negative snippet, and the South Central girl and the Bronx girl, we had to tone ourselves before they started to come out. We had to, but they handled it really nicely because Miss South Bronx, I had to put her in the corner and go, you know what? Don't even come like that. All right. Because we don't do that here.
No.
This is all about bringing positivity and bringing information for you guys, for all of us to be better, because we're slowly passing away quicker than ever. Cancer is just like in everyone.
Right.
It's like we at least know 5 people that has had cancer.
And if you don't have something nice to say,
then just get off the channel.
Don't say nothing, and don't come on this page. If we ain't funny to you, I'm funny to me. Y'all ain't funny.
If we ain't funny, then go someplace else.
Go someplace where you can find a comedian. Anyway, we love y'all.
We love you. See you
Have a great week. We'll see you next Sunday. Bye.
Hold on, Doc. Don't go anywhere. I'm just got to log out. It takes me 6 hours to do this. Bye, everybody. Oh, what?